There are many sources in Yiddishkeit and Torah where we find that the actual looking forward to the coming of the Geula, the tzefiyah, is what will bring the Geula. That is the schus which will bring the redemption of the Yidden from Galus. And one example is in the Medrash of Yalkut Eicha, where it says as follows: Omar Yitzchak l'fnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu Ribono Shel Olam. Yitzchak told the Eibishter, Ribono Shel Olam, Shemo ein chazar levanim. Perhaps is it a possibility that the Yidden can never return to Yerushalayim, return from their galus? Heshiva HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem said, Al Toimar Kain, don't say that. Yesh der shehu mitzape lemalchusi miyad him nigan. There's going to be a generation that they're going to look forward to my malchus. They're going to look forward that Hashem should be the ultimate king and the only king over Yidden. And right away they will be redeemed from galus. And the Medrash brings the pasuk from Yirmiyah, Perek Lamed Aleph, pasuk Tezayin, V'yesh tikva lachrisech num Hashem, v'shavu vanim ligvu. That there is hope for the Yidden. There is hope that there should be an end to the galus, says Hashem, and the Yidden will return to their gvul. When, says the Medrash? When they will look forward to the Malchus of Hashem. And this shows us that the Tzefiyah are looking forward to the Malchus of Hashem. Although Yidden are being Mekayim Torah mitzvahs, that is what is going to bring the Geula, the redemption from Galus. And Chida explains very interesting in his Sefer Midbar Kedemos, Erech Kivui, he says as follows. He says, the looking forward to the Geula is the big schus which is going to bring the actual Geula. And he explains, if you didn't request from Hashem that Hashem should bring Moshiach, that Hashem should bring us the Geula, the redemption, Hashem might decide that as far as our merits are concerned, it's not enough. Our merits are not enough to bring the Geula. But when we look forward to the Geula and we hope for it to come, that itself will bring the Geula. And he brings, the Chida brings from the Medrash, in Yalkut Shemaini on Tilim, Remes Tavshin Lamed Vav, where the Medrash says that Afilu ein biyad Yisrael ela hakivui, even if all the Yidden have is kivui, is the hoping that Mashiach will come, kedayim legeula b'schar hakivui. That is what brings the Geula. Of course, Torah and mitzvahs is very important for every Yid, but as far as bringing the Geula, it may be that we don't have enough merits. But if by wanting and really looking forward to and hoping and yearning for very eagerly the coming of the Geula, that is what's going to bring the Geula, says the Chida. And the Medrash Tilim, Mizmer Yud Zayin, brings down a very interesting thing from Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. It says as follows: Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai said that in the days of David HaMelech, thousands of Yidden fell in battle during the Milchamis. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says as follows: that the reason why so many Yidden fell in battle, the reason is because they did not demand the building of the Beis HaMikdash. And Rav Shimon Bar Yochai makes a kal v'chomer. He says, Madach, the people in the time of David HaMelech, they didn't have a Beis HaMikdash. The Beis HaMikdash was not destroyed in their day, and they were punished as such to fall in battle, to fall during war. Says Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, in his generation, he says, us, that we had a Beis HaMikdash, and the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed in our day, and we're not mourning over the Beis HaMikdash, and we're not begging Hashem to bring us the Beis HaMikdash. Allah has kama v'kama. For sure, it's coming upon us, chas v'shalom, a certain punishment. And therefore, what comes out from this is that we really have to yearn for the building of the Beis HaMikdash, very clearly. And Rav Shimon Bar Yochai adds, and he says that therefore, the Chasidim Harishonim, when they were misakin how we should daven, they were misakin that we should daven every day 3 times, that we should ask Hashem in His infinite mercy, return your Shechina to Tzion, and bring back the Avodah to Yerushalayim, to the Beis HaMikdash. And we say Boinei Yerushalayim, we say it not only in davening as a separate bracha, we say it in Birchas Hamazon as well as a separate bracha, because that's how important it is. And by saying these brachas and these tefillahs, it's not just something that we're saying, it's part of the liturgy, it's part of the Seder HaTefillah. It's there for a reason, it's there because we have to really yearn for it. We have to really beg and show Hashem that we really, really want Yerushalayim and the Beis HaMikdash and the Shechina back with us. It's brought in this Vasemes that the Chidush Yerim said that before the Geula from Mitzrayim, it says in the Pasuk in Shmois, Perek Beis, Pasuk of Gimel, that Vayeonchu v'nei Yisrael min ha'avoda. And he says as follows, that is why the Geula came. The Geula came because the Yidden were worn out from Galus and they were ready for, they really wanted the Geula to come. And he explains that before that point, before this pasuk of Vayeonchu v'nei Yisrael min ha'avoda, the Yidden were really very deep into Galus in a spiritual sense, and they didn't really feel the necessity for the Geula. They didn't feel the bitterness of the Galus so much, and therefore Hashem didn't bring the Geula. The minute they felt the bitterness of the Galus and they felt the necessity of the Geula and they begged Hashem for it, that's when Hashem brought the Geula. Says the Chidush Harim, the same thing is going to be with us, ba'achris hayom. He says that throughout Galus, Yidden are chas v'shalom going to start to forget about the fact that they're in Galus and this is not the way it's supposed to be, this is not where a Yid belongs. And that's going to make the Galus stronger, to the extent that the Yidden feel the Galus, and when they feel the Galus, they're going to sigh and complain and really, really beg Hashem for the redemption, and that's when the Geula is going to come. And in Yalkut Miyam Loyes, in Shmois, page Reshid Beis, he says very interesting. He says, in order for the Geula to come, it's not enough for a few people to implore Hashem to bring the Geula. And it's not even enough for all the Yidden to implore Hashem by one tefillah. But it has to happen, all the Yidden imploring Hashem to bring the redemption over and over again, more than once. Because we're looking forward to such an amazing Geula, so therefore he explains that the tefillahs and the bakashais have to be very strong by everybody, by Klal Yisrael, and not just once, but several times over and over again. On the flip side, in the sefer called Kates Hapla'is, in Siman Chav Daud, he says a very, very shocking historical thing that happened. He says that in the year of Tov Ches was the year when there was much bloodshed amongst the Yiddish nation from our enemies. And during that year, the Yidden were doing Torah and mitzvahs in a tremendous way. And if they would have requested, really asked for the Geula would have come. The whole winter passed, Pesach passed, and the Yidden didn't ask for the Geula. He says in the Sefer Ketz HaPlois that after Pesach, the enemies of the Yidden started becoming stronger, and they killed thousands and tens of thousands of Yidden, and they wiped out full cities, loyally. And we see from this how important it is to really be toiveya, to beg Hashem, to demand the Geula. And we see these words in the Chafetz Chaim al Asidr in Siman Kuf Samches, where the Chafetz Chaim says as follows. He says, several times during davening, we request the Geula, we request redemption. But the request itself, as we said earlier, is not enough. We have to, says the Chafetz Chaim, we have to be toiveya, we have to demand the Geula. Just like, he says, he gives an example, just like a worker who wants to get paid for the work that he did. Says the Chafetz Chaim, the din is that if he doesn't demand his money, there's no obligation to give him the money the day of. There's an obligation in Torah to give a worker the money the day that he did his work. But says the Chafetz Chaim that if he doesn't demand the money, then that obligation is not there. Says the Chafetz Chaim, when we are requesting in davening several times the coming of the Geula, we have to request it not just like a request. We have to demand it. We have to demand our Geula. So we see from all this that on one side, on the negative side, the not asking doesn't bring good results. As we see from Rab Shimon Bar Yochai in the Medrash Tilim, as we said earlier, and we see from what it says in the Sefer Ketz Plois of what happened, the history in the year of Tov Ches. But on the other side, on the positive side, we see so many sources that when the Yidden really show that we're fed up of Golus, we don't want the exile anymore. We don't want the Golus anymore. We really feel that we need the Geula, and we really, really want and demand the Geula. That is what it says by many G'dayei Yisrael. That is when the Geula will actually come.